How's it going, Blazers? We're going to bring you specifications you can relate to. You can have an educated decision on your purchases. David from Blade Banter. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thumbs up if you like. Also, this is going to be a new one from Steel Will. I don't have a lot of Steel Will knives, so this is actually one that I saw at SHOT Show, and it kind of was a standout when I actually handled the other knives there. I did a little live one of the knife as well, but this is going to be the actual more formal review of the product as I was able to handle a little bit further. So Steel Will, this is the, it's spelled S-C-Y-L-L-A. Basically the two ways that I'm going to say that is either Scylla or Scylla. So choose which one you want. I'll probably bounce back and forth between both of them sometime through this review as well. So stick with me on that. But this is one that actually stood out pretty well. So that's going to be how it's going to sit in your pocket. It also is dual carry, so right hand, left hand carry. So it does come with a little pocket clip as well, because it does have a little bit of a sweep to it. So that's where you're going to be able to swap that over if you would like. If you really want to, you could probably rock both clips and be really different. But that's going to be how that looks. And this is a very decent size front flipper. So with the way this is orientated, it has the little knurls for kind of a thumb studs, and then it is a front flipper, so you're going to be able to open it up. But it's actually quite a bit bigger than a lot of other front flippers out there. So if you actually have a front flipper, if you're into that type of deployment method, and then you're like, well, most of them are really too small, then this might be a good option for you. So D2 for the blade steel, which is still a pretty popular steel for most of the budget line. Corrosion resistance is going to be about 7% tile as far as most of the knife steels out there. And then for edge retention, it's going to be about 49th percentile compared to all the other steels, including super steels. So that's going to be the basics on those for the knife. Hand sizing wise, we're going to look at those. So we're going to look at the adult women's hand and also adult male's hand, so you can kind of get an idea as far as what this is going to look like for yourself if you're going to pick one of these up. As far as your hand sizing, this is located down in the description. So if you'd like to print it out, you can do that, see where it's going to sit for you, for your hands, so you can get a kind of better idea. So that's kind of a lot of the points by a lot of the information that I provide, is trying to get it as close to your hand as possible without actually buying the knife, putting out the money, and then finding out, well, it's too small, it's too heavy, it's just not what I'm looking for. That's why a lot of things are by numbers, so it's not my perception on a lot of it until more so into the end. So if you like to see that, stick around as well. So this is going to be one that has pretty good sizing for it. Weight wise, it's going to be about 4.4 ounces for it. So that's going to be, as far as my new way to measure things, that's going to be 22 quarters as far as that weight. So if you have 22 quarters, that's one thing you could probably pick up and roll a quarter if you want to stick around for a while. So 22 quarters, pick that up. That's going to be how heavy that'll be for yourself, so you can get an idea in hand as far as what this is going to be for that 4.4 ounces. So as far as the actual pull gauge also for deployment, so there's a little bit different deployment method. So I'm going to try and use the Lyman pull gauge again for this, but it's going to be more of a front flip. So let's see what type of deployment that we have for this. So 2 pounds, 4.5 ounces. So very good for that. So 2 to 3 pounds is my kind of goal when I review a knife, and I actually find works pretty well for that deployment weight. But this is really not too many ways to deploy. So you're going to have just regular front flip methods. So you're going to basically have thumb deployment. You're going to have a rollover with your finger, so you can actually roll over. And that's one thing. Also, you can pinch yourself a little bit. So I did pinch myself a little bit on that one. Depends on where you put your finger when you're actually doing that. You also do have more of a deployment like this, where you could deploy the knife. So you can kind of play around with that. And this also does have inertia flipping, so you can actually flip it out with inertia for the knife. But be careful with some of the pinching, especially if you get really zealous and opening it. That same amount of force that you put into it, it's also going to be in the same amount of force that will be pinching your finger right on this side over here, which is not fantastic, not horrible, nothing's going to cut you or anything else, but it's just something that will make you take notice of that. So price wise, Price for this one is going to be currently MSRP. You can buy it through their website. $69.99 is the price that you're going to pick it up for. There are going to be some retailers that will have it, so that pricing might come down probably, I would guess, into the 50s range for the knife. But right now, if you do want to pick it up at this current moment, $69.99 through their website. I wasn't able to find anyone else at this point recording, but that is what that is. So 3.7 for the blade. Kind of a modified Warncliffe flat grind for it, but it slices very well through material, just the way that this high flat grind is. So it actually works pretty nicely. For the actual behind edge thickness, about 5 sheets of paper. So take that out of your printer, 5 sheets of paper, about 22 thousandths, and then the degree of ramp to actually get onto the blade. So when you actually disengage it, it's going to be about 20 degrees before it's fully onto the blade. And that's actually really good. 20 degrees I find is going to be really good. 30 degrees is okay. 40 degrees and above is something that's a little bit high and kind of takes away from the experience of the knife. But that is my opinion on that one. So there's also you can slow roll it too. So that's actually makes it kind of nice to use. But yeah, right hand tip up, left hand tip up. So reason for that, I know folks that have been around for a while, you know that, but you're going to want to keep this against the seam of your pocket. So if it does pop open, you're not going to be meeting your hand to an open blade. It's going to be against the pocket here. That's why if you put left hand side with the pocket clip, it's going to go this way to the left hand of your pocket, seam on this side. So that's going to be the way you would carry that. Or you could put it in a back pocket. I know a lot of people also carry in a back pocket as well. But as far as sizing wise, so as we talked about as far as the front flipper, there is like the Metamorph from Real Steel. So there's going to be that knife here. So lengthwise, the Metamorph is actually longer, but as far as a sheer width of the knife, that's where the steel wheel is going to be a bit bigger. Steel, the Rat 2 for that, and also a Benchmade bug out, because this is kind of a standard for a lot of people what they have, and then kind of what they compare it to as well, because that's like 1.9 1.8 ounces, so it's very light for it, but this is going to be a little bit beefier in hand, and some people actually prefer a little bit more weight to their knife. So that's going to be really up to the person that is picking it up. One thing that's really great about the community is you're going to find something for everyone, even a mermaid knife. So that's going to be that as far as a preference for things. But yeah, definitely look at it. It's available to pick it up out of the pocket. It's about 2 pounds, 7.2 ounces to actually pull it out of your pocket. So kind of thinking about kind of taking out a big old can of Bush's baked beans is about 2 pounds. So kind of lifting that out, that at the heaviest point of that pull, you're lifting up one of these, take it out of your pocket. So that's going to be also related to kind of that deployment. You're going to be pushing on it, having the actual knurls actually be about 2 pounds, or a big can of baked beans. There's going to be a pressure on your finger. So I'll definitely recommend to pick it up for a buy. I like it. Most of the steel wheels, they had a really good showing when they had the cut jack and everything else that was out. They kind of had a little bit of a waning point for it, and they're coming back. So black stonewash is available in blue handles, satin and black, which this one is, and then they have a black stonewash and black handles. So that's currently what's on their website. So I would recommend a purchase for it. If you like it, great. But that's where I come across with it, and I've enjoyed having it. So I appreciate it again to Steelwell for providing to the group. And it's going to go around to a few other folks. So thank you again for that. But that's about all I have to say about that one today.